Thank you so much to Spark Cognition for having me here today. I am super pumped up to talk to you about what is 5G. And so I don't know if any of you woke up this morning feeling like the world was about to change, but if you didn't, welcome to the fourth industrial revolution. You now have a front row seat to the most innovative time at Verizon. And these are things that folks are going to talk about in the history books. They're going to be studying. And I'm so excited to share with you the journey and where we are so far. So I believe as humans, we are ultimately wired for human connection and for community. I don't know about you, but I've sat in many of the robotic massage chairs. But if I think about my masseuse and her forearms, which are the size of my thigh, and Helga kind of rubbing my back, I would prefer that any day. And while I think that FaceTime is an unbelievable technology advancement, at the end of the day, I think I just want to sit with you at the bar, and I want to clink my glass, and I want to have a conversation face to face. This human connection that is kind of mastered and undermined by digital transformation is at the heart of what we are doing in our 5G future. Again, I think as humans being wired for that connection, I was reminded just recently, I returned back from Israel and Jordan. And in here, I was astounded at the amount of Roman history that kind of expanded the vast region. I kind of had no idea. And what struck me about the way that Romans began to architect their cities was that before the very first stone was laid, they began to figure out, how do we want the society to operate? Where are the main streets? What do we want them to feel when they kind of enter into those massive gates? What should the distance be between the cistern and the bathhouse and the amphitheater? And just so, as I was walking around these unbelievable artifacts of history, I thought we're kind of at that same juncture. We're at the dawn of the fourth industrial revolution, and here we are, gathered here today, figuring out how do we craft these digital highways? What coding languages are we going to be speaking to one another? What new forms of intelligence are we going to be asking people to buy into? And how will we collectively shape society? I think you'll agree with me that it's both an unbelievable opportunity as well as an incredible responsibility. We have an opportunity to create something that is altogether new, something that has no legacy or past. And in addition to that, we have a great responsibility to do so and to craft society with respect for one another, for the human being as a self, and for our beautiful mama nature that we have here. And so as we think about this, you're probably asking, listen, lady, like what is 5G anyway? Let's get down to brass tacks. So I'm going to tell you. So what's amazing about 5G is that if you think about where we came from in the 4G world and everything that has led up to that, 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G, there were two components that got major step functions every single time a new generation came into play. And those two functions were latency and bandwidth. And while each of those functions have applied kind of new ways of working, fundamental changes to business, those two kind of components were really all that was improved in each of those step functions. When we think about a 5G world, we now have 8. How do you like me now? So we've got a whole new way to think about the way that we're going to transform people, society, and businesses. And as we think about that, each of these 8 currencies, which is the kind of words that we're using to describe this new technology, we can begin to think about new ways of working. You can monetize them. You can create entire businesses off of some of these slices. And you can begin to bend and flex them inside the network to do all kinds of unique things in combination with one another. So let's talk about a couple of my favorites of the 8 currencies. First up is the connection speed. I've taken many a train, high-speed train on the East Coast, and even as I was flying here this morning from Denver, it's a little bit of a hot mess creating a connection that is sticky over 200 miles an hour. Does anybody feel me? Has anybody had trouble with their airplane Wi-Fi? So as we think about that, what we have through the 5G component is an opportunity to maintain those connection speeds at 300 miles an hour. I'm sure that someone in Formula One is thinking about how to change the game. It's going to be amazing. In addition to that, we think about the number of connected devices. Today, we can connect 1,000 devices in 1 square kilometer. It's pretty amazing when you think about the massive number of devices in about 1/3 of a square mile. But in a 5G world, it's 1 million. When I think about that capability, when we're talking about truly transforming factories and workplaces and homes, all of a sudden, we've got something whole new altogether to work with. I would like to see how we feel about 10x battery life. 10 times the battery life, people. Can I get an amen? Like, this is going to be revolutionary. No more plugging in at night. No more smartwatch. It died today, okay? Then, not to feel left out, we've got our latency gains. So, the promise of 5G is 5 milliseconds of latency. And to help put that into context for you, a blink of an eye is pretty fast. 5 milliseconds of latency is 100 times faster than the blink of an eye. You guys, it's going to blow your mind. All right, and not to be outdone, our friend in the throughput industry, Slice, is ready with the fattest of fatty pipes with 10 gigs of data delivered per second. So, I'm pumped up. This is going to be game-changing. This is not merely a step function above 5G. This is a completely different type of connectivity that we have never seen before. And this is why us nerds at Verizon are getting super geeked out about it. So, your next question would be, that sounds great. When can I have it? So, Verizon has now installed 5G ultra-wideband in 15 cities here in the United States. Not only were we the very first in the entire world to deploy 5G, which we did in Los Angeles in October of last year, but in addition to that, we just announced our partnership with the NFL and our ability to put 5G ultra-wideband inside 13 NFL stadiums moving forward. I don't know about you, but my ticket's about to get a lot more exciting to the show. It's going to be amazing. In addition to that, there's a handful of devices that you can go out and purchase today and receive those low latency, high bandwidth functions. But the reality is that it's early. And these capabilities, while absolutely astounding, they are not businesses in and of themselves. And so my challenge at Verizon in new business incubation is to develop these new software-based businesses using all of these 8 currencies sitting above the network, and to do it in a pretty magnificent accord. I don't know about you, but this is the coolest job on the planet that I got, and it's awesome. So, what's interesting as we started this journey within new business incubation was to figure out, all right, well, let's just put 5G onto everything that we currently have. Let's do a little derivative work, and let's watch the money roll in. And it turns out that's a really dumb idea. Instead, we actually have to go back to the drawing board, and we have to think about a piece of technology and capability that has no legacy and no past. We need to come up with something altogether new. Doesn't this beg new ways of working, new ways of thinking? And so we've done just that, and I wanted to share with you 2 examples of portfolios within new business incubation that we've been cooking up to get your minds going, because the reality is that while Verizon is here to establish this future, we need all of you, and society needs all of you to help take advantage of the opportunity that we have in front of us. So the first company I want to talk to you about is Skyward. Skyward is our, wrong button, there we go. Skyward is our drone management company. We have a drone management platform, and within that, you can do all sorts of amazing things. First, it allows for 3D airspace intelligence that you can use for fleet operations, operations planning, and airspace access. And a fun fact about Skyward, the company was actually established many years ago before it was actually legal to fly drones. And I don't know about you, but starting a new business in a generally illegal practice is probably not going to generate a bunch of revenue. But as you think about it today, we now have hundreds of thousands of federally registered drone pilots right here in the United States. That being said, while there's been tremendous growth in the drone industry in general, only 10% of large enterprises currently have a drone program. And I have a hunch as to why. So today, if I'm a drone pilot working for a large enterprise, I get into my vehicle, I drive out to my site, I deploy my drone, making sure that I can always have visual line of sight of where that drone is. I can fly for maybe a maximum of 20 minutes because those suckers not only are data hogs, but they're battery hogs. I then go conduct my analysis. I take video footage, I take pictures, I collect 3D imagery, whatever that might be. I land my drone, I remove the SD card, I get back into my vehicle, I drive back to the office, I insert my SD card up to the cloud, and now I can begin to actually do my work, which is to analyze the data that I collected. It's a bit of a mess. What we envision is an opportunity to cellularly connect the drones. There is not a single drone that is cellularly connected today, and we're about to change that. Instead, we envision a future where an individual sits inside an office anywhere in the world and deploys hundreds, if not thousands, of drones. They're deploying those aerial robots. They have an opportunity to take 8K quality video to stream it back in real time, to run artificial intelligence either on the device or at the cellular edge. They can collect and analyze that data, and they can do it all in real time, again, from anywhere in the world. We think this is going to be incredibly disruptive, but we need a bunch of things in order to do that, right? We need some of those 8 currencies that we talked about. You have to have low latency. You have to have massive bandwidth. You have to have security. You have to have reliability. And you better believe it's going to be on America's best network. And when you can do that, all of a sudden what we have done is we have opened the skies for business. This is what we're working on within Skyward as a part of the Verizon story. Not to be outdone, our friends in Verizon Location Technology are working through what I call kind of computational mastery to think about the future that is location. If you think about what we are asking our devices to do today, we're demanding them to be more contextually aware, right? We want them every step they take in order to understand how all of the other elements are moving within them. And so as we think about the world that we live in now, 4G brought us great advancements in location with getting us from point A to point B and making sure that we avoided the cops along the way, real-time traffic, some phenomenal inventions. It's got Find Your Phone, or the ability to tag people within a specific location to their picture. But what you still have is this clear distinction between a digital world and a physical world. And what I ask you is, why? What we're building here is a true 3-dimensional world, and brand new 3-dimensional world map that will allow those two things to collide and actually not be discrete and be one. Why is 5G necessary to do that? For a few reasons. First, you need the ability for those machines to evaluate their circumstances and those environments in real time, to create 3D point clouds using SLAM technology and artificial intelligence to create an opportunity to do all of this in real time on the device or pushed out to the cellular edge. You need to update those maps holistically for an entire ecosystem of cars and pedestrians and bicycles and robots and aerial components that are all moving at the same time. That semantic segmentation is massive, right? Think about what you do in your brain every day when you walk down the street. We believe that machines can begin to do that for us. All of it needs to be updated in real time, and all of it needs to be available back to those devices. I'm hoping that you can see how not only is this actually not physically possible today with the networks and infrastructure and frameworks that we've built, but it also demands that we have a different type of technology protocol, a different type of connectivity altogether moving forward. Because at the end of the day, we believe in location technology that we can give machines sight, just like how you and I process imagery ourselves. Okay, so with that, I believe that we are a part of a transformation. That today, when we think about the way that we do business, it's very transaction-oriented. We put the dollars in and we get the value out. I think 5G gives us an opportunity to transform humans in human transformation through pure reality distortion. It has the ability to create information transformation with the dawn of brilliant neural networks that can think for us and help us assist think and decision. And then it also assists us with societal transformation as we think about what it means to be ultra connected and to remove the barrier between the physical and the digital worlds. And so at Verizon, we stand here in the middle of the ring, ready to trial and test the businesses of our future. Again, we're creating something altogether new, and my invitation to you is to predispose ourselves to wonder as we look forward to create a new digital future. Thank you so much.